Our gospel for today, my dear friends, is taken from Mark chapter 7, verses 1 to 13. Well, hypocrisy comes in many forms. I was once introduced to a lady who was a little bit, I would say, obsessed about cleanliness, I was talking to her in one of our counseling rooms, and before she even sat down, she started putting paper napkins, on the chair, started cleaning up the whole table. She won't allow her elbow to touch the table without putting a napkin between them. So every time she would stand up, take up the napkins used, tissue papers, throw them away, come back and put another set, a new one. And for the 30 minutes that we have been speaking, she did this something like 4 times or 5 times. And I got fed up and I said, there's nothing much we can achieve in this conference, in this session, because I'm not talking to a normal person. I'm talking to an obsessed person. To somebody who is obsessed with so much cleanliness. And this is an indication of something that is going within her, inside her. Hypocrisy, obsession are symptoms of something else. Let us see what is the reason for such obsession among the Pharisees as the gospel relates. The Pharisees with some scribes came from Jerusalem. They gathered around Jesus. They observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean hands, that is, unwashed. For the Pharisees, and in fact all Jews, do not eat without carefully, let me repeat, carefully, meticulously washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And on coming from the marketplaces, they do not eat without purifying themselves, and many other things that they traditionally observe, like purifying cups, jugs. It's not simply cleaning. Of course, you have to clean the cups and the jugs and the plates as you use them, of course. But purifying is something ritual. There is a ritual in washing the plates. There is a ritual in washing the cups and the jugs and the kettles and even the beds. Now, Jesus saw what is behind this hypocrisy, what is behind this obsession, and he says it here. He says, the reason is coming from Isaiah. Isaiah was right. Isaiah read the hearts of these Pharisees and scribes, even though Pharisees and scribes would come centuries after Isaiah. He says, "This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts." The Pharisees and the scribes actually are doing all these things because they believe that in doing such, they would be closer to God. They think that God is so pure, God is so clean, and in fact He is, that they too should be as clean, as pure as God in order to connect or to link with Him. But this is not so. This is not so. When Jesus Christ came into this world to proclaim forgiveness, Jesus knew that those people who would come to Him are people who are the most impure of all. That in the eyes of the Pharisees and the scribes, they don't have any right to approach God or even to benefit God's forgiveness. So this is the reason why they became so paranoid about cleanliness, about purification, because they believe that in doing so, they become closer to God. But the economy of Jesus is different. We're closer to God because God forgave our sins, God came closer to us in the grace of forgiveness. My challenge to you today, this morning, is how close are you to God? What makes you feel that you are really close to God? We would like to greet and thank